Lave radio. It's even louder than me. Wait a minute. That can't be right.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
We buy any ship.
Bar none.
We buy any ship.
Bar none. Any model, any colour, any shape, any size.
We buy any ship.
Bar none. We here at We Buy Any Ship Bar None are ready to take your excess space travel vehicles off your hands. No more negotiating with dodgy space station vendors. We'll simply give you an estimated quote online. Then, when you get here, we'll point out all the little dents and scratches that make the price get smaller and smaller before we actually give you any money. And the beauty is, we take any ship.
We buy any ship.
Bar none. Terms and conditions apply. We Buy Any Ship excludes trading in any of the following vehicles: Adder, Anaconda, Asp, Boa, Cobra, Constrictor, Cruisers, Eagle, Falcon, Gecko, Griffin, Gear, Harris, Harrier, Hawk, Kestrel, Crate, Lanners, Lifters, Lions, Mantis, Merlin, Moray, Osprey, Panther, Puma, Python, Saker, Sidewinder, Skeet, Spar, Stowmaster, Tearsel, Tiger, Transporter, Turner, Viper, Wyvern, or any Imperial or Thargoid vessels.
The Lave Radio Project was our last best hope for news. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long, located in neutral territory. A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads, community members and developers. A shining beacon in space, all alone on a Tuesday night. It was the dawn of the 3rd chapter of Elite. The year's space legs came upon us all. This is the story of the last of the Lavian stations. The year is 3307. The name of the place? Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 355 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, otherwise known as Colin Ford, and joining me in the orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, everybody's back. We have our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Edelweiss, otherwise known as Ben Moss Woodward.
We're back, baby!
That's right. Brace yourselves, everybody. We're
coming
in. We also have our Inhuman Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Everybody's back, Colin. Everybody's back. Hello.
And we also have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psykit.
Forgive me for not jumping for joy. Bad back, you know.
Oh, dear. Right. Well, if you wish, you can join us live. I do believe we're hanging out in game somewhere, Ben, are we?
I am at a little-known location called Oaken Point at the moment.
Right.
And it's about to turn daytime, I think. I've been watching the sun slowly creep down the hills.
Oh, right. So we'll leave you there for that. So if you want, you can try and find Ben at Oaken Point. Otherwise, if you can't get to us in game, you can join us in the Twitch chat. Hi to the Twitch chat, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. You click on the live chat, go straight to twitch.tv/laveradio, or we're live on YouTube and we're live on Facebook. Yes. So we'll just quickly go around the teams, see how they've been for the last couple of weeks, because school holidays, what can you say? So we'll start with Commander Psykit. How have you been for the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I've been good. I've been good. I've been doing lots of gardening and buying too many plants. I'm painting fences and buying lots of pretty outdoor furnishings and all of that good stuff. In game, I've been where Ben is right now and followed that trail. That was exciting.
All right. Is the reason why the gardening is because you got? Is that why you got a sore back then?
Nah, I've always got a sore back.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough then. Ben, welcome back. It's been a while. You have been missed, but then again, we can reload.
Yeah, I've been missed like genital warts or something like that.
I don't know. I've never had them.
Neither have I, but I'm sure they'd be missed if you had. Yeah, I've been good. It's been, as you know, as you were saying earlier, lots of family stuff. Not so much playing video games. Visiting our nation's capital, which was better than expected, I guess. Had some nice experiences there. Had some shitty experiences there. As our tech has just said, I've been missed like a splurge on a white spacesuit. Yes. I'm trying to think what things I can get into. We visited the M&M shop. That was smelly in a good way.
Right, gotcha.
Nearly got pickpocketed, but managed to avoid that just.
Oh, tell us. What?
Well, basically, I felt somebody trying to grope me in Leicester Square.
What, and you didn't let them? That's the first.
I know.
isn't it?
I went for a reach around first.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but yeah. So you know what it's like. You feel somebody like just that bump into you, but the bump is in a very "that's my pocket"
kind of way.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
What part of your precious were they after?
I think they were just seeing if I had anything in my wallet, in my pocket. But thankfully, I don't keep things in my pockets.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know, but nothing got taken, so that's all good.
Yeah, you got a free fill up, I suppose.
Yeah. Didn't manage to lose the daughter either, despite her trying very hard to. The wife
you failed then. You failed to lose your daughter.
No. The daughter was the one who was trying to get lost, but you know we managed to keep her on the leash. Paid for very, very overpriced drinks, but we enjoyed them, so that was okay.
That's just London.
Yeah, it's London.
You have to be prepared for that.
Exactly. The wife saw various George Michael things. We did try saying he's gay. She didn't care. He's also dead. She didn't care about that either, for that matter.
I keep on forgetting that. It's really weird.
Yeah.
What? He's dead.
Yeah, I'm gay.
No, I knew he was, but I knew he was gay, but I keep on forgetting he's dead. It's one of these weird things. It's like David Bowie. I keep on forgetting he's dead as well for some reason.
Yeah. We went on half a bus tour. That's a bit of a sore point. We also got caught up in a rally or a riot. Not right. Oh,
Extinction Rebellion people.
What did you say there, Shan?
Was it the Extinction Rebellion?
If one of you speaks, I might hear it.
Go on, Shan.
Extinction Rebellion.
Yes, them. They were basically marching down Oxford Street and Regent Street, whilst the bus we were on was trying to go down there. And basically, then we had to get off the bus, and the wife. We had to get off the bus because of the daughter, and the bus we never managed to find it again. Basically,
Is that one of those red tour buses where you get stick things in yours? Yeah.
yeah.
Bad experience with those.
Yeah, I was enjoying it while we were on it, but their app didn't work right for telling us where the hell the bus was. Their communication with the chat now thing or phone numbers just didn't work. We spent about 40 minutes waiting at one of their bus stops to rejoin the tour after traffic had gotten flowing again and everything like that. And their bus never showed up. We tried complaining to it, and it's like, well, there was a thing going on. What we can't be responsible for that. And I'm like, yeah, but what can you be responsible for? You couldn't even you can at least be responsible for your app working.
It sounds like
or answering the phone. That'd be a nice thing.
It sounds like it's one of those apprentice events, where they put all the apprentices and they have to do a bus tour. That's what it sounds like.
I don't know. It was what it was.
The apprentice scheme does bus stops.
No. On the apprentice, they have to do a bus tour, don't they? And remember. And
I don't know. I don't watch The Apprentice.
I guess that's a Shan thing.
It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was what it was, and we enjoyed it. So that's all right. I also went to the Hard Rock Cafe and had a damn good steak, which honestly surprised me because I was expecting mediocre at best, and it was actually bloody fine.
Bloody fine, a bloody fine steak. Good. Okay, Shan, what have you been up to for the last couple of weeks?
Well, in game, I have been taking all the modules off my carrier and all the ships off my carrier because I'm going to take it to WeBuyAnyCarrier.com and sell it. I don't use it. It's just sitting there using up my money and my time I've spent on my money. So I might as well get rid of it. So it's going up on WeBuyAnyCarrier. And so, yeah. So that's what I've been doing in game, preparing to sell it. In real life, let me see, I have been doing the horrible jobs now because I know that when it gets winter time, I'll end up a ladder cleaning drains out in the wind and the cold and the dark because they've got blocks. So I thought, well, I may as well do them now when there's a bit of sun. And today I got an invitation to be interviewed for television.
Ooh.
So I'm going to be on the.
Does this mean you're going to be coming out?
So I'm going to be on the local news, where they're going to ask me about electric vehicles and Teslas and whatnot.
Okay, yeah.
And there was me thinking it was going to be Man Worries Alpaca.
I'm surprised you can even say the word, Colin. You haven't got a black armband.
I'm surprised that it wasn't the first thing you mentioned, Shan. I heard it in the car today, and my husband turned to me and he went, "I bet you Shan's going to mention that tonight."
No, I wasn't.
See, it's Shan that's just obsessed with the alpacas. It's not me. He's
Let me
always
just
the
see.
one that brings it up.
Let me just see. You brought the thing out comment up first, and Ben actually knew the name. So, that's kind of both arguments shot. Anyway, so tomorrow, the ITV people are coming round with the camera crew and whatnot and going to interview me, apparently. So I need to be very careful and not say anything that can be edited to have the narrative of the actual interview wants to come out. So I'm currently thinking of things to say in the interview and things like that.
So we were on for a full-on shenanigans interview, are we?
No. Well, I don't think it's very long because the local news is only like 20 minutes. So I'm not going to be on there for more than about 3 minutes. So it'll be a blink and you miss it. But my my parents, well, my mum has already started the gossip round, so I expect the viewing figures will treble to 6 people rather than 2 next when it's on next week. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it, really. So, and of course, I can bring my considerable media and professionalism experience from doing this show to the local news.
Yeah. God help us there. Little Big Ian in the chat has reminded you to make sure you remove your anime ladies pictures from your Tesla. I don't know.
Well,
If
actually, you say that I had all sorts of silly ideas. Like I was going to print out pictures of Elon and like put them on the car and
Make sure you have a Lave Radio banner casually sitting somewhere on the bumper or something.
we don't sell Lave Radio bumper stickers, do we?
No, we should. We should, as advertised by Shan.
But you have something like my other car as an adder or something.
Oh, yeah, that would be a real uplifting one, wouldn't it? Anyway, right. Let's see what has been happening in the world of me for the last couple of weeks. I've actually been away in a foreign country, which is
Scotland.
No, Madeira, actually, where the cakes
Oh, you
and
managed to get
Ronaldo.
back.
Yeah, we managed to get back, even though
Wow.
the paperwork was unbelievable.
How come you're not locked up in a hotel somewhere?
Because it's a green zone, and we've had our day 2 tests, and we're all vaccinated.
So, what was the I'm genuinely interested because we quite like to go to France at some point in time, etc. So, did you have to pay a fortune for the PCR tests?
The tests cost a fortune. It added an extra 500 quid on top of what should be a reasonably cheap 1 week away holiday. So it's
That's for 4 of you.
That's for 4 of us, yes. Actually, 6 of us went, so you can imagine how much it cost the entire party. So 750 on top. So I would not I wouldn't recommend it. And I do want to know how many blooming government ministers have shares in those companies. I'll tell you.
Well, if you believe Mrs. Merkel, its testing is going to be completely irrelevant soon. So go next year.
Well, we all did our day 2 tests and basically coughed up a whole load of phlegm because you got to stick the bloody thing right up your nose and all that kind of stuff.
So are you self-isolating now? Are you in quarantine for 10 days?
Nope, not in quarantine. You have to quarantine if you come back from an amber or a red zone. But if you come back from a green zone, where Madeira is, then you're fine.
So could you not go from an amber and a red list country into a green list country and then bypass the whole lot of it?
You have to declare which countries you've passed through.
So
you could cheat the form, yes, but to tell you the truth, you still end up having to do the day 2 test regardless, and that will show up any kind of coronavirus if you picked it up.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Sorry, one thing I did do this weekend, I was completely gripped with excitement at the Belgian Grand Prix.
You should mention that. Me and my son have been watching the Drive to Survive documentaries on Netflix. So we thought, right, we'll sit down and watch the Belgian Grand Prix. This should be good. Oh dear. Anyway,
I saw a really
did
good
something
YouTube.
happen during the Belgian Grand Prix that I'm unaware of?
Basically, it didn't.
Oh.
It rained for 7 hours, because they
And their cars can't drive in the rain?
No, they can't.
Not like that. Anyway, so what happened was they started the in quotes race behind the safety car. Did 2 laps where no one was allowed to overtake behind the safety car, so like at 50 miles an hour, and then go, right, that was a good race, well done. Here's some points.
And that's it. So yes, not F1's better finest hour, to be honest, but still, what can you do?
Did anyone get corona at it?
I have no idea.
Unless it's waterborne, no.
Yeah, it's probably corona got drowned. Yeah, unfortunately, I have some bad news to the fans of Thumper the Bunny.
Oh no!
This morning, I basically had to fend off a fox trying to get into his poor hutch. I'm afraid to say he had a very, very scared little bunny rabbit today. So he seems to be fine now, but
His heart's okay then.
yeah, it's okay. But of course, once a fox works out you've got a bunny in a hutch, then we're going to have to watch that very carefully. Yeah, I'd like to shoot the fox, but I've got nothing to shoot him with.
So is Thumper the Xeno bunny?
Yes.
Oh, we know people who have many guns.
So that's it. So here's a serious tip, Colin. What you do, put a webcam in the hutch. So when the fox gets in, you can then put it on YouTube.
Right.
I think YouTube frown on stuff like that. I think there are content warnings. Definitely don't put it made for kids.
So how come the rabbits
to all those who think that the Xeno bunny should basically melt the fox, I'm afraid to say his abilities have been exaggerated. Just pointing that one out.
I've been before we get on to Psy, I've been reading the Alien Extended Universe stuff and thinking Xeno bunny every single time I hear anything. But actually, I'm quite enjoying their Extended Universe. Because I'm trying to figure out how the hell you get from Prometheus through Covenant to the start of Alien, and I still haven't figured it out.
Well, that's because the writers haven't figured it out.
Possibly, yeah. But I'm enjoying the EU stuff anyway. And X-Pain X is suggesting Colin just has some rabbit stew for dinner.
I had to kill my pet rabbits when I was younger.
Oh, well, this is joyous.
Miffy. Well, no. What happened was
explains a lot, actually.
No, what happened was Miffy and Jubilee, because they called my brother's rabbit was called Miffy because there was a little rabbit called Miffy, and Jubilee was named after Jubilee for the Queen Jubilee. But anyway, they sadly got myxomatosis.
Oh no!
So, yeah, my granddad did one, and I did the other.
Wring its neck.
Spade.
Oh man.
Okay, I think that's enough bunny violence for the moment. Let us move on to talking about stuff in space.
Chris made a good comment though.
Oh, what do you say?
That's why villains shouldn't have origin story. That's amazing.
Yes.
Anyway, meanwhile, in space, what has been happening this week? Well, in pretend
have we had a psykit?
Yeah, we did me first, Ben. Thanks for listening. It's just as well that I tuned out during all of yours then, really, isn't it?
I just got horrified by...
I know, we're all traumatized now.
Yeah.
We're all traumatized.
Well, I was thinking with Psy's update, with her gardening exploits, she should be like Psy Dimmock, and just the
next thing that you're going to say, back away from that thought.
What thought?
I must admit, I'm a little bit lost on this one as well. Maybe Psykit's gone somewhere that we really shouldn't follow. Anyway, can everybody hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, yes.
I'm trying to figure out where Psy was going as well.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe that needs to be the Psy smut corner at the end of the show.
Definitely doesn't.
Well, like I said, let's go and talk about pretend space.
Yes, space.
Space. Right. We have two big updates. Well, one big update, which is the developer update 3, which came this week. But we're going to quickly talk about the stuff that they had in the Super Cruise news the previous week. And they announced some of it today. The first big one is that they're making some changes to some quite big changes to the combat zones, the on-foot combat zones. The big news about this one is they are adding anti-vehicle turrets rocket launcher troops, and NPC ships are all coming to the conflict zones in update 7, which is the next update. So effectively, these anti-vehicle turrets will fire both on SRVs and ships. They defend. I'm a little bit confused about who they're operated by, because obviously you've got two sides. So which ones are in charge of which?
They're operated by, they're owned and run and managed and maintained by the defensive team.
By the owning faction of
Yeah.
the.
So let's pretend Lave Radio has a base that's under attack.
Yeah.
The turrets would be owned by Lave Radio, and they would operate on Lave Radio team's behalf. But I don't think it matters because they basically seem to keep the area clear of everybody, I think. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, but it does seem that these weapons can be temporarily disabled by marauder suits cutting them open and overcharging them. So there are opportunities to disable them. Also, in addition to that, rocket launcher troops will be dropping in if SRVs turn up. If I'm not mistaken, and that means that, of course, if you turn up in an SRV, obviously it means that there will be a counter to your SRV, because one SRV can win a conflict zone quite easy, I found.
Can we get Frontier? Sorry, can we get Frontier to send us royalties for the anti-ship turrets you can take over and disable? Because that was something we were talking about.
Well, that's the thing.
Gameplay needed.
Yeah, the problem is we can't take them over. I know that Ben, you said that you would love to actually remote control those turrets so you could manually fire on other people.
Yeah, I did request that during the live stream and got pointedly ignored, but hey ho.
Yeah, I know. So it seemed the turrets are automatic only. And the other interesting thing was that NPC ships will be flying above the combat zones. So that means and it's not just NPC ships restricted to the defensive faction, it's both factions, if I remember.
Yeah, I saw that. So does that mean the NPC ships, because I'm assuming that's correct, will be fired upon by these turrets? Because in the video I saw, they were making a big point. Oh, you can now dogfight above the war zone in your ship against these other ships. Well, you kind of can't, because there's these guns shooting at you. So you either have the guns and the ship and no ships, or do you see what I mean? It's kind of like you've got. Why would I take my expensive ship into a conflict zone when I'm going to get PPU'd by OP lasers before I can shoot many ships down?
Only if you're attacking the settlement. It gives the defender the advantage, which the history of warfare, the defender always seems to have the advantage. So it just seems natural that. No? Okay. Let's see. In addition to those little updates, they have said that they are increasing the bookmarks and stored modules from 120 to 200. Now, they've also said that this is now at its maximum. They've hit a server limit. That means they can't take it any further. And there does seem to be a little bit of confusion about whether or not this is going to apply to Horizons as well as Odyssey. And I think a couple of questions were asked about that in the chat, but those seem to be missed. And there also seemed to be a leak of paint for the station interiors, which we will be discussing in a bit.
So with the stored modules and bookmarks, have they allowed what I consider bookmark folders? Now
we have a favorites folder. We can move bookmarks to favorites, but there's not, as far as I'm aware, there's nothing other than that.
Okay, because one of the things I was hoping for is that you could like have a folder that said, I don't know, exploration, and a folder that said materials, and a folder that maybe said CGs or something, and you can store your bookmarks in that folder rather than just having a huge list of
No,
favorites.
it's a case of you have a huge list and then you have your favorites in a separate list. So there's one degree of separation. Right. Moving on from there. No, obviously there was a capture the flag live stream which I took part in, and unfortunately I think I was on the losing team, which also just happened to have Bruce and Zach on as well. Not saying that they're bad at capture the flag, but it did feel a little bit of an uphill struggle.
So were you on a were you on their team, or were you fighting against them? Bruce and Co. Were you on Bruce and Co.'s team, Colin?
I
Or were
was.
you... So how many times did you shoot them down? Did you not blow them up?
Shan, he
You
was
can't do
on
you can't
their
do
team.
friendly fire in CQC. It was CQC.
You still could grease them. Anyway, carry on.
This is you we're talking about here again, Shan, isn't it? I think we might be losing Colin. He's having tech issues. So yeah.
Okay, we'll carry on.
I need to. Does somebody have the show notes open in front of them, or shall I dive in?
Yeah, so the capture the flag Colin took part in a couple of weeks
Yep.
ago and completely failed both to win and to kill the ECMs. We talked earlier about the turret video. It was a short 1 minute 38. I think it was Bruce.
Yeah. Yeah, it's half narrating talking over the turrets basically, isn't he?
Yeah, it came out as part of the developer update.
Yeah. Turrets go pew pew, they're separate entities on their own power supply, which I found interesting, though it makes a lot of sense. It sounds like they're meant to be deployed by the defending team when their power goes down or something like that, so they're on their own independent power system.
I'm not sure I like that, to be fair, because part of a strategy should be you take the power out and you take the turrets out as well, as an alternative strategy to running around individually shutting them down.
Yeah, but the power's automatically out on those if on
settlements that are under
settlements. Yeah, so there's no point in trying to take the power out. That's why they've got the separate power supply, because nothing else is working.
I guess that's also why we've got the separate come here and get your power thing rather than recharging at the wall.
Mm. Although I don't know, has anybody ever tried charging up a...
I have, yeah. I've gone to a few wall panels and gone, I can get more power. Shit, it's out.
No, what I meant was, has anybody actually tried to put a power converter or whatever they are into the power station while that's happening?
In a conflict zone.
In a conflict zone.
I have not.
There we go. There is a challenge for all those listening tonight. If you manage to find yourself in that situation, try it and see what happens.
More importantly, can you get it back at the end of the conflict zone?
Probably not. Only use power regulators, which you find them.
Only use stolen ones.
Yeah, that's the one. Right, so I have to get up the show notes again because everything crashed for me just not so long ago. Lovely.
Okay.
So that brings us on, obviously, to the big thing, which was the developer update number 3. Now, obviously, there's an awful lot of stuff in this, so we'll take it one little bit at a time. Right, first of all, they covered up a lot of the issues on the issue tracker. Number 1 being the lighting and illumination in Odyssey. Now, this is seems to be a little bit of a sticking point between the community and Frontier at the moment, because they've said that although they're marking it as fixed, they think that this one subject of lighting and illumination is too big for one issue in the issue tracker. So what they've done is they've marked this one as closed, and individual items such as lighting not working at a on a exterior station or fleet carriers and things like that will be raised as separate issues. Personally, I don't know. I was quite happy with the lighting in update 6. I mean, what do you guys think to this one?
It's a bit cheeky calling it fixed, isn't it?
Well, discontinued. It's been removed.
I mean, if it makes people's experience better, and it doesn't matter how many, I guess it's just kind of if it actually improves things, then yeah, why not make it better?
Okay, psykit.
I think they were right to close a general issue about lighting, because personally, I'm with you, Colin. I feel for the most part, lighting is a lot better. However, there are moments where I'm like, this is a little bit too bright that it's distracting. And if we can log more specific issues rather than just a blanket, oh yeah, lighting shit, because I don't think it is anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the prime example for me is when I'm fuel scooping around the sun. For some reason, at one point, the cockpit just goes a lot darker, even though I'm still at the same angle relative to the sun. Does that? And I don't think it should do that. But then, and so that would be one of these issues that has to be highlighted. But actually, landing on a planet and watching the sun comes up and it illuminating the settlement I'm next to, that seems to be working fine. So, yeah, they do. I think in this case they need to be more specific about where the lighting goes wrong, rather than just a big general lighting and illumination thing. Right.
I think the other thing is that
go on then.
lighting is so subjective. You know,
Yes.
it's like you got the hardcore, sort of, it's realistic spaces, dark and sharp edges. Get used to it.
Yeah.
Crew. You've got the but elite looks lovely. I don't want anything to change while you change things. Crew. You've got the make everything light and I want to see myself glow in the dark. This is, you know, with Odyssey and the new lighting scheme, we had a fundamental change to the look and feel of Elite Dangerous, and that's always going to piss people off.
They're still operating on the single light source, aren't they?
They've got to. That is a restriction of the engine at the moment.
I would love it if we could.
Yeah, well, we've asked them in LaveCon questions and things like that about how difficult it would be to put in multiple light sources, and the just the look of horror on the artist team.
Dangerous RTX.
Yeah, you can imagine the ray tracing. Yes, I know, but you are looking at a massive increase in the base requirements, and
well, you make it an RTX only thing. I can live with that.
Right. Next one. They have decided that the degraded terrain textures that people complain about are nowhere near as good as Horizons. They have been largely resolved. This item will be marked as fixed with a final set of changes to arrive in update 7. If we find specific instances where it all looks wrong again, then we've got to raise that as a specific issue. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what it's like. I mean, personally, I haven't really been down on the older Horizons planets at all, because to tell you the truth, I've got no reason to go down on one. That's going to sound completely wrong taken out of context. Let's move around. Yes. So, what do you think of that one?
I think it's one of these things we have to wait and see. When it says if you see specific instances, so does that mean if people find 40 planets where it's not right, they need to then open 40 bugs for it, or
I would.
Eh,
yeah, but then what happens is they all go to the frontier bin. Sorry, I mean issue tracker to get voted on. So it means only the planet closest to the bubble would get fixed. Where they should be looking, I think, and grouping them together and saying, I don't know, brown high metallic planets are like this, so we need to look at this type of planet. I'm not sure.
Well, I think that actually comes into um, the algorithm which they're using. So if you report an issue about, let's say, a brown metallic planet that looks wrong, that issue is probably happening on all brown metallic planets. So reporting it on one will probably point them in the right direction to fix them for all.
You would hope so.
And
Oh,
out
well,
of the,
no, Shan, it's got to. Otherwise, the procedural generation wouldn't work. There are specific code lines that when it works out, okay, this is a certain type of terrain, and what will happen is for that certain type of terrain, the lighting would go or the texture would go wrong. And once you find out what the particular type of terrain has gone wrong, then you can fix it, and then that kind of terrain is fixed for the rest of them. That's the
But
way
remember,
that's the
they
way
use
this
tiles,
works.
though, don't they?
Yeah, I know,
They
but
use tiles. So you think if that particular tile set doesn't work, then you
yeah,
then need to extrapolate it.
yeah. Well, that's the point. I mean, once you find out where the tile set is, what is wrong with the specific tile set, then that will be fixed for all the tile sets. It's the way that the procedural generation works. You're going to be hitting the same kind of code to generate the same kind of landscapes as people have been complaining about. But it does have the advantage where if you fix it in one place, it should fix it in all the others.
I was just trying to see whether we should be suggesting to our dear listeners that they open up a per planet report or try and dig into more and then open up a per
I
type
think
report.
I think it would be if our listeners come across something that says this, that something is going wrong. You mentioned that it's going wrong on this planet, and this is the type of planet, and this is the kind of terrain I was looking at. Because otherwise, if you just say it's wrong on this particular planet, that doesn't give them much to go on. Because you've got to actually show. It might even be more helpful to go right down to the coordinates where it happens, because they need to know exactly where these things have gone wrong.
Yep.
But yeah, but I would think that if you've gone through 6 or 7 metallic planets in a row, you don't need to worry about. You just need to do the first one you come across.
I'd still log all of them. At the end of the day, if I can log all of them and give them that data, there's not a chance in hell that I'm going to say, oh, it's a problem with all metal-rich planets or something like that. Because there's going to be someone who reads that. The me in the office who reads that, who goes, oh, look at this dickhead who says that he's visited every single metal-rich planet and can confirm that every single thing is wrong. You know, be specific.
I mean, personally, I think knowing the way that the procedural generation works is basically, you only really need to find the first example. Once you fix that first example, the procedural generation one should be able to handle the rest. But you know, if you want to supply that data, yeah, I just think that it might swamp the issue tracker a little bit too much.
Well, that's what they're asking for. They're asking for specifics, so give specifics. You know?
Right. Okay. So split of opinion there. Right. Point 3, FPS performance in Odyssey. Right. It has been noted, really, that there are still frames per second problems in Odyssey. There will be optimizations in Update 7. However, the core team have said that they are making good progress. However, there are going to be substantial optimizations in Update 8.
I think I've got a name for Update 8.
What's that? The proper release?
Can down the road.
I don't know. I think that it has been improving substantially with every update, up to the point where, apart from, I think, planetary, well, for me personally, without planetary bases and some complicated settlements, I'm getting a satisfactory frame rate. And also on top of that, I'm not getting any frame drops.
And this is on your ZX 960 graphics card.
This is on my 1050 Ti. Yeah. I mean, admittedly, I've got everything turned down, but it's still keeping the FPS up. I mean, obviously, if you've got your big 2080s and 3080s, or 37, have you got a 3070, Shan?
I've got 3080. Ben has got the longest one out of all of us, I think, at the moment.
The longest one?
I've got the tie.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, I'm running currently at 4K at 60 FPS at Outlook, and that 60 is basically my monitor's hard cap at 60. So,
But
I
that's in
can't go higher
space,
even
isn't
if I
it?
want. No, I'm on a planet.
Okay.
Although I'm on a Horizons planet. With Commander Moody Man at the moment, who's trying to rebind his SRV controls.
Yeah. Oh, that is actually a bug that I've got to raise. Every single time
Yeah.
I move between Horizons and Odyssey, if I move to Horizons, I have to go and reset my bindings up because
Yeah.
it defaults to the X52 Pro profile, and I find I have to go one down to select custom. And
Every time you move your mouse, it sets the mouse movement as well with me.
oh, does it? I don't have that with me. However,
Do you guys run? Have you guys created like Collins.binds or something like that?
no, because I haven't needed to.
Okay, because I've gone off and done that with sort of combining my joystick with Game Glass
Mm.
with my gamepad. Yeah, so if I've got my gamepad and my joystick and Game Glass all configured in together, then it sort of like does everything, and it just says, okay, this is Ben's bindings, and I've made a file for that, and I find that's fairly solid.
Mm.
And it's just something I can just copy and paste between things, and I've got it backed up and all that.
Yeah, that is a good idea, and perhaps I should do that. However, what I'm finding is once I move back from Horizons to Odyssey, all my bindings are fine except for the on-foot stuff, which has defaulted back to the X52.
Weird.
So I have to go into those profiles and select custom again, and then everything's fine. It's just weird. It's like it's losing that one one index on the list box.
Actually, serious question. Actually, while we're talking about bindings, if that's okay, what do you guys think about the fact that we've now got bindings that are individually picked and chosen, whether we're on foot, in a spaceship, or on an SRV? Because it used to be you just had this is my bindings file that I'm using, and you just select it. Now it's individual for each individual section. Do you think that's an improvement? Better, worse?
Well, I
Don't
actually
care.
find it an improvement because I'm finding it easier to go to the section I need.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it,
Shan?
I think Sai was first at the key.
I in relation to the things, the keybinds for each separate one, as somebody who uses mouse and keyboard for a controller for SLV and hotess for space flying, bloody perfect. I know where I'm going if I need to check a bind.
I share a lot of the stuff with you, Colin, the way the bindings shift around because if I go to Horizons, then all my binds go completely to pot, and then when I go back to Odyssey, they're suddenly back again, apart from a couple of other keys which just mysteriously vanish. So there's something strange going on with keybinds.
Mine are husband has those problems where he logs in, he has, if he logs into Odyssey, everything disappears, but mine's fine.
It's bizarre because what I've done is I've made the bindings files, once they're all set up, read only. So in theory, the game should go, I'm not allowed to read those, I won't overwrite them. But somehow it just resets them, and I don't really understand how it's doing it. Maybe someone who knows the key binding system way better than I do can offer some hints for people, because I thought it was just me. I thought it was something I'd done to my client, and it was just, well, that's the way it is, and I'll just never use Odyssey again. But it sounds as though it's more of an issue than I thought. Or it could just be a subtle frontier attempt to get everyone to use Odyssey and make Horizon so annoying to use, you never log into it again. I don't know.
Oh, here goes Shannon's conspiracy theories again.
I mean, if that was the case, it would be happening to all of us rather than just a select few.
Very true. Right, well, moving on from that. Point 4, nothing to do on long shuttle rides. Well, this is one which they've already touched on. Update 7 will provide the opportunity for players to redirect the Apex shuttle in transit, thus avoiding instances of players feeling trapped on too long journeys. We'll look to mark this issue as fixed in line with Update 7. Feel free to contribute your votes to other issues. Well, it does allow you to redirect the Apex shuttle while you're, if you've changed your mind about something, but if you've still got to go that distance, you've still got to go that distance, which I think is kind of avoiding the issue.
Yeah, I'm with you, Colin, on that one. It's a bit like saying, I've got bored of my train journey, and I'll fix it by being able to get off at a station.
Yeah.
That was actually the same kind of logic my daughter was using the other when we were in London. I'm bored of being on the underground now. Why can't we just get off?
Yeah, I want to get off at Charing Cross when we need to be at Westminster.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I'm quite impressed with the redirect function, but as for it being used as a fix to say, right, that's your nothing to do on long shuttle rides fixed, I don't think it is. I think that was a little bit of a, yeah. Next one. Having a look.
I think both Sai and I have things that we want to talk about in this.
Yes, I'm sorry because basically everything's gone screwy with my Discord. Psykit, you first then.
Paul Archer has the right idea. If you're getting bored on the shuttle journeys, don't take a shuttle. I'm sort of, it's a simulation. It's still at its heart a simulation. What mini game do you want?
I want to play the Regional Elite.
Go on then. Open it up while you're playing Elite. You've got a good enough computer to be able to do it.
It's not the same as playing it actually in Elite Dangerous, though, is it? It's
Well,
have a little screen pots, though. It's not cool. Not
But
cool,
why
is it?
would you? Why would you play it in Elite?
Because it's cool.
Personally, I would prefer it if you could actually play CQC while waiting in line.
That would be cool. I'm down for if you could have like something that's already in game. If you could, if there was a little hollow suite or something on your in your Apex, or go and play some CQC. But there isn't. And
Or just watch Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Open up Netflix. We do words on stream. It's really fun.
Ben.
Oh, I'm actually wanting to similar kind of vein, I guess, in that I was quite pleased when I learned that all they're really doing for making the journeys better in inverted commas was you can change your destination, because the idea of playing solitaire whilst sitting in the Apex shuttle kind of defeats the entire purpose. This
It
is,
does.
whilst I quite like the idea of the gimmick of, okay, I'm in the shuttle, I can go and play CQC. That's fine for, say, a 15-minute journey, not so much for a 5-minute journey. And whilst the taxi drivers don't seem to kick us out of our Apex shuttles, unlike real taxi drivers, it still doesn't seem right. It's like, hey, I've arrived at my destination, but I'm in the middle of a game of CQC. What do I do? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, whilst it's fun to laugh at the idea of, hey, let's all play Elite or various mini games in the cockpit whilst we wait, I'm glad all we're getting is you can go back to where you came from or change your destination within a very limited space. Because let's pretend your taxi had 30 light years of fuel. You can only go within 30 light years of your taxi's home base, and he won't take you that further. So you can't go off and add on your... It won't go off and add on and say, okay, now take me another 30 light years, now another. It'll just like, nope, you can't go south of the river, mate.
I think the only time I can think when redirecting an Apex would be really useful is if you've accidentally clicked on the wrong destination and you think, oh crap, I should have gone to Moon 1A. I don't know, and now I'm going to 1B instead. So being able to redirect if you click the wrong destination, I can see a use for that. But then the Shan part of me says, well, tough. You should look where you're going. But
No, I think the redirection thing is, for that kind of thing, is absolutely perfect. It's what's needed, and that's what it's there for. It's just that it doesn't tick the box for, oh, we've made long Apex journeys more.
They're right.
boring.
They haven't made them less boring. They've just given you the option to nope out of them.
you know what would make them really fun and less boring for everyone, don't you?
Well, if they allowed you and only you to interdict anyone.
No. If you allowed other people to pay a fee to redirect other people's shuttles, so you've had 1 million credit to redirect someone's shuttle, that would be hilarious.
And now we find out the reason why Shan is selling his fleet carrier, just in case.
And how much it would be to redirect Shan to Colonia, please.
Well, it's funny though,
totally
wouldn't it?
worth it.
That would be totally worth the fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for you it would be, but for anybody else being a victim of it, geez, that's a bit much. You'd end up going away to Beagle Point and just saying, right, send him to Beagle Point, and send a fuel rat after him as well, just in case.
No, you're lacking imagination, Colin. What we would do,
right, okay.
What we would do is, let's say you decided you wanted to go from Lave to Deso on an Apex shuttle, yeah?
Yes.
So myself, psykit, Ben, Colin, Chris Mark IV would all send your shuttle around in everlasting circles. So we just keep you going from system, I don't know, Deso to Requat to wherever, and just keep it going round and round and round all the time.
But that would be like being stuck in the Fife loop of hell.
For you, but for us it'd be hilarious. And definitely not boring.
Yes. The Fife loop, train loop in obviously in Fife, is a place where you could get on and never get off, which it's scary. Right. Moving on from there, we've had some good news for the Anti-Xeno initiative. They have identified a cause of the invincible Thargoid heart issue and are applying a fix for this issue in Update 7. They are going to leave it open because they have claimed that they have fixed this before, but it's reared its ugly head time and time again. It does seem that this one was caused by people playing over multiple time zones. So if you were playing with your anti-Xeno friends in America, and you are of course in the UK, then that could have been issues because of the time difference. So they're putting out a I guess a potential fix for it. I'm going to see how it runs. But if they have fixed that, that is a huge boost for the anti-Xeno initiative, because I know that when I've been involved in a couple of team takedowns of Thargoids, that invincible heart thing can be a stopper, a real a heart stopper. Yeah.
That's been more pernicious than the Thargoids itself, because the Invincible Heart was there ever since they first launched the Thargoid combat. That's just
Yeah.
been there for years. So I hope they have fixed it.
No, so do I, and it just goes to show that if it is something that's been caused by, the actual physical distance between the players and the peer-to-peer network, there's no way that them testing it in the one office in Cambridge would they'd be able to find it. It's only when it's out in the wild are you able to even track it down.
So you got any speculations of why that would happen? Is it just a lag thing, do you think?
Oh yeah, it'll be something
Pretty
along the lines of lag. There'll be something where when you switch between whoever is in charge of the instance, if that has to happen over a certain distance, I reckon that not all the data was getting there in the time period it needed to, and therefore when it switched instance, then the heart didn't get the flag it needed to say, oh, this one's vulnerable now. And I think that's what the issue was. I also am going on along the lines of what the anti-Xeno initiative was saying, which was along those lines.
I hope it is fixed. That's quite a obscure bug, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but it's still a biggie. Right, next we have the frame rate drops post update 5. Now this was they've received they think they have fixed this one, which has a potential performance issue where when you're walking towards settlement or a lot of geometry, you'll be walking towards it and then the frame rate will just drop for a couple of seconds before you get there. They reckon that this will be fixed in update 7 whilst being part of their general frame rate issue fixes. Which, I mean, it did need it. I did notice that quite a lot in update 6. I don't know about anybody else.
I haven't been getting any performance issues since Odyssey launched, so I can't say I've noticed that. But again, if it improves other people's experience, then all props to them.
Okay, well, on top of that, they're going to mark off the following things as also resolved, which is empty NHSS signals in Odyssey, fleet carrier and module costs not being included in overall wealth, support missions not being widely available. Now, I've noticed that one. I thought that one was due to the BGS.
I thought that as well. Yeah, I thought that was.
Yeah. Because I thought if your BGS fell to a certain point, that meant those missions were no longer available anyway because they didn't need to bring any settlements online. But apparently that's been complained about.
They might make the degradation a little bit more, so that there's more systems that have support missions more available. Would be my guess is how they're going to combat that.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, surprisingly enough, the support missions, they do seem to be some of the most popular ones to do.
That's why they're going so quickly, because it's changing the system state.
Isn't that because it's a way of cheesing materials?
There is that, but also I think it's. I find them the one of the easiest ones to do, and also the most atmospheric. Quite like doing them, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Mission rewards are not being shared with the team. A previous present codex entry is now missing. Stolen tritium cannot be donated into a fleet carrier's fuel depot, which means that you can. There's actually a power play thing here of too much CC returned when systems revolt, which I do know that's a power play thing that's been in there for quite a while. So I'm glad they're looking at a little bit into that. Mission reward materials are missing, deposit fragments being stuck inside rocks, unable to interact with a comms panel in Headlook, rock scatter, this was a fun one, rock scatter only visual in the right eye in VR. Seeker and Packhound missiles doing double damage against shields. That's a bit of a shame. I would have preferred that one. And choosing the influence award from missions gives no influence. That's a doozy.
That's made me so angry.
Yeah. Well,
so angry to learn this right now. After I'm very angry.
Yeah. That is a, like I said, a doozy. And combat zone captain defense incorrectly credits bonds for the enemy faction. So hang on, does that mean that you win your combat zone, but all the credits go to the enemy faction? What?
No, I think you get bonds for you in CZs. You can, if you defend the captain, you get that very small, like I think it's like 100k bonds for the other group. So you get the combat bonds that you can choose to hand in.
Oh right, got you. Right.
It doesn't mean the other side wins in the whole battle, because that would be ridiculous.
It would. Well, in addition to Odyssey Update 7, they're pleased to confirm that a number of these fixes and quality of life improvements will also be deployed to Horizon players, both in PC and console versions in September. So this sounds like Update 7 will also be a kind of minor Horizons update as well. Now that sounds good, especially if it's fixing things like the Invincible Thargoid Heart bug and things like that. So now they have said that Update 7 is planned for mid-September. So we're probably looking like a couple of weeks on Thursday. What do you reckon? Couple of weeks, 3 weeks, guys?
21st.
You reckon the 21st? I was hoping for the 14th.
On, no way. 16th or the 23rd. 23rd, I reckon.
Everybody checks the date thing now.
No, I'm just thinking. I don't know, mid-September. I think the 23rd is likely because.
Yeah, I'm hoping 16th, 23rd. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. So, yep. After that, we have, now this is the update that they haven't actually confirmed, but there are other things happening with Update 7. The first one that they're saying is we've covered the new turret defense stuff, but then they've now got the new social hub styles.
We're going to talk about enforcers first, Colin.
Well, enforcer units I thought we'd already covered because they were part of the.
I was looking at that and I was wondering, do we think the enforcers will just rocket spam everyone, or will they only target SRVs?
I think they'll only target SRVs.
I hope so, because that would be really annoying, wouldn't it?
Have you been to a military base with the enforcers there?
I haven't actually. Have you?
Yeah, because they do rocket spam everybody. So
Oh, do
it's
they?
not going to surprise me if we have to be dodging rockets. They will probably make a decision as to what would be the highest threat and choose an SLV over another commander. However, if it's just a commander there, I'm fully expecting to take a couple of rockets to the face.
I thought that the enforcer units would only be deployed if SRVs are detected.
You would hope so, wouldn't you?
Well, that's what I'm hoping so at this point.
From what Sai's saying, I'm not sure now.
So I often will go into conflict zones with my brother-in-law, whose favorite thing to do is jump around with a rocket launcher and spam NPCs. So I don't see any reason why we wouldn't have NPCs doing exactly that.
The good old Quake rocket jump. Yes, excellent.
I have.
So yeah, there's a. Well, personally, as far as this is concerned, I am hoping that the enforcer units. I call them marauder units for some reason, but no, enforcer units. I hope they're only deployed if players start turning up in SRVs. Otherwise, I think it'll be a little bit more unbalanced.
Well, it won't be much fun, will it?
No, but I think that's. I mean, it seems logical, but we'll have to wait and see.
If they're as accurate with their rockets as they are with their grenades, they can piss off.
Why are you finding them quite accurate with the grenades?
Have you not been in a conflict zone with grenade throwers and you've disappeared for 5 minutes and then suddenly there's a grenade directly at your feet because somehow some bugger knows exactly where you are?
No. But
oh my god, it happens all the time.
Then again, I'm only playing the low conflict zones at the moment.
Oh, they're the worst. They're the actual worst.
Right. Well, there's something to watch out for, folks. Let's just hope they're a little bit more inaccurate than the grenade throwing. Right, now we'll move on to the new social hub styles. Apologies for that. Right, they have released some screenshots of the new variations that they're adding to the stations for Update 7. They're making the station interiors more clearly linked to their installation type. So changes include elements such as swapping out railings with alternatives, replacing crates and planters with other props that better suit the theme, different wall partitions and wall pieces, swapping beams, roof sections, and adding pipes or more industrial-looking geometry. One thing that Zach also mentioned in the live stream is that the richer the station is, the cleaner it is. So God knows how filthy Lave Station is.
So basically, Frontier is giving us variants.
They are giving us variants. Yes, there's supposed to be more variants to the actual station. Although, admittedly, looking at the screenshots we've got, the only thing that jumps out to me is the color.
It kind of looks like an IKEA kitchen, doesn't it? With just different coloured doors.
It's better than it is currently.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot more color where there wasn't color before, but it does seem that instead of having one single blue line around the entire concourse, everything else has gone blue.
Do you think they'll give Sleepy Pete a different outfit in each place?
There are several different Sleepy people all over the place. Sleepy Pete doesn't exist in every station. And sometimes Sleepy Pete has hair. Sometimes it's a she, Sleepy Pete.
I really like that blue one with it's got a little bit of pinky purple undertones and nobody was surprised.
Yeah,
it's
that
really cute.
That is supposed to be a high-tech system.
I like it.
It looks quite Star Warsy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's really nice.
What, the blue one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, I do like obviously the green of the agricultural, also the kind of industrial yellow of the inside of an asteroid base is quite nice.
The one you've got on screen, did have screen, the one with the red stairs, that looks like a shopping centre.
Apparently, that's the most expensive one.
The
I
red
think
one.
I think that's what they said on stream.
That's what they said at the stream, yeah.
Is that the lakeside version?
Probably.
No, that's the Lakeside was Schemy's one, wasn't it? And it was Blue Waters, the snobby one.
You've just been told off, Colin, from
What?
what you was Kai.
Oh, what have I been told off for now?
How dare you presume on Sleepy Pete's gender?
I didn't. I said there was a she, Sleepy Pete.
Yeah.
They might also
And-
be a non-binary Sleepy Pete, or a non-human Sleepy Point.
There aren't any non-human Sleepy Petes.
For all
Oh, there
you
might
know.
be augmented ones.
I mean,
Augmented Pete.
Augmented.
I saw some of that model, and I ain't convinced he's human. But then again, I've also seen pictures of Michael Gove dancing, and I'm not convinced he's human either.
I mean, the problem is with that is that I have no room to talk about bad dancing. And if I was a good dancer and able to take the mickey because of it, then I would. But I'm not that good a dancer to take the mickey out.
Now, Scotsman just put in chat saying, bring on Alligator Pete.
That is the best variant of Pete.
Always the best variant. Also, what about Frogger Pete?
Okay. I didn't think there was a Loki Frogger. I
There
was
was
just
Thor.
getting-
No, there
There's
was
a
a Thor,
Thor
wasn't there?
Oh,
Yeah,
there's a
there's-
Thor one.
yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, got you. Sorry, I'm catching up. Really, it's,
Yeah, spoilers, I guess technically.
yeah, technically, especially I haven't seen What If yet, so.
It's
So
been like-
good.
Oh, new episode tomorrow.
and season 2 of Lower Decks.
Of what?
Season 2 of Lower Decks is out.
Oh, Lower Decks is out. Yes.
Oh, lower. I thought you
But
said Modex. I'm there going.
I thought you said
no.
Modex or it didn't. It wasn't Lower Decks. Whatever you said.
Yeah. Well, I do think Colin is grief-stricken, so he should be kind to him for the rest of the show.
We should always be kind to Colin.
I'm not grief-stricken at all, Shan. And we've been over this before. You're the one that's bringing this up, not me. Anyway,
Well,
well,
talking about your bunny.
Oh, the bunny. Oh, nothing's happened to him yet. Just a little bit concerned. I'd be grief-stricken if something had happened to him. In fact, I think we should have a Lave radio burial if he does, considering how much airtime we managed to get.
Wait, so Colin, can we have a Viking burial? Can we put him on a boat and set light to it? And
So basically, what you want me to do is go to the
Put him on the
boating lake.
barbecue.
Go to the boating lake with a little boat and a dead little bunny casket in it, shove it off, and fire flaming arrows at it while swear it for singing Scottish
well, douse
lullaby.
it in
Oh,
petroleum first. Put fireworks in it.
So you get one of those. All you need to do, Colin, is get one of those disposable barbecues from Tesco. Put the bunny on that, light it, obviously, and then you can
Don't
just
believe
it'll
this.
float. And then you push that along the boating lake. It'll be fine.
Can you imagine Colin's kid's horror when half cremated bunny comes washed up on shore?
You know
Not
what?
as-
No, it's not. No, because we've already lost one bunny to a fox around here.
Yeah.
We've lost his brother to a fox around here, and that was heartbreaking for the kids. I wouldn't want to put them through that again.
Don't tell them. Just get a different bunny.
Oh, they know, and everybody here would complain.
Well, how would they know? Get the rabbit. I mean, there's only so many colours you can get rabbits in. Just tell it regenerated, like Doctor Who.
Any yes, Paul Archer's there. I nip to the kitchen for a drink and come back to bunny horror yet again.
I just tune it out, Paul. It's probably for the best.
I don't know. This lot is just oh man, they are a worry.
We're being compassionate about you, Colin. We don't want to inflict bunny horror on your children. We want them to be
So,
well balanced and.
Meanwhile, back in Elite Dangerous World, they've also mentioned that Apex redirects coming, increased module storage, which we've already talked on. They have actually said that the AMD Fidelity FX CAS will be reintroduced again as an option in Update 7. It's mutually exclusive to the FSR, which has got its own integrated RCAS system. If anybody would like to explain that in English, I would like to know.
So I'm just looking at the chat.
We does render different ways, I think is what it means.
So basically, you want us to describe the ARSE system for you.
You know what? I think I can live without it until actually it comes along. Also, they've said that they have been making significant progress in fixing the Horizons cosmetics in Odyssey. The character team has been hard at work overhauling the Horizons flight suit cosmetics to make them compatible with Odyssey's EVA suits. They've got a bit of a way to go on this, but you can see some results. All right, I don't think that's coming in Update 7 then, judging by that language.
So
No, it isn't.
now you'll have your pointless cowboy hat at an angle rather
than dead on.
I'm quite excited by this because I quite liked the look of my flight suit in Horizons. So I'm quite keen for this to come about.
Yeah.
You want the Lave radio suit back, don't you?
To be honest, the Lave radio flight suit was just a plain orange one, but I did have like a jacket and boots kind of thing, sort of like an oversuit, I guess you could say.
I do think many of our listeners would agree that an orange jumpsuit is the best attire for you, Ben.
I think nobody wants to see me in a skin-tight leather jumpsuit.
That's an orange one.
Doesn't matter whether it's orange or black, even striped. Nobody wants to see me in a skin-tight jumpsuit.
Orange is the new black.
Moving on.
Right. Yes. Moving on. Indeed. No, I think the items mentioned in this one won't be coming in Update 7. I think they're just planned for the future. The 4-player multi-crew. They showed a couple of photographs of the progress that they're making with this. They've got a number of ships in test with 4 commanders on the bridge. So it looks like there is a second seat behind the left gunner's seat on an Anaconda that they're showing off here. It looks okay. A little bit lopsided, I suppose. But what can you do when you've there are 3 stations already there? One's got to go somewhere. I think this is well overdue. What does anybody else think?
Yeah.
I'm until I can see my crewman in one of my jump seats, I ain't going to be happy.
Fair enough. It does make me wonder, though, if you've got 4 people in your crew, does that mean you get 4 pips then? Because that's been always the thing in multi-crew, where if you join up, the commander in charge gets 4
You get
extra
3 extra pips. Yeah, I can only imagine that would be the case.
Well, that's going to give people a massive advantage for having your crew in one ship.
But only people with enough friends.
Well, that's me buggered then. Right. In addition to that, they have mentioned that their new Odyssey engineers are coming to Colonia. They introduced the first one, Rosa Dieta? No, not Rosa Parks. Rosa Dieta, with a massive basically bioflora, which I don't think we need to cover here. We can let people discover that for themselves. Colonia does need Odyssey side engineers if it's going to continue, I think. Right, following that, we also have the mission feature extensions. Now, I'm actually quite excited about this one because this is the work that's ongoing to expand the missions featured for Odyssey to increase diversity and create stronger links between the in-cockpit stuff and the on-foot gameplay. They're hoping to share most of it soon. This is the one that I'm really hoping for, because this is as we've said hundreds of times before, it does feel that, there's the footside game and there's the ship game, and the grey area between the two is very, very thin, and that grey area needs to be spread a little bit more. But I guess until we get more details on that, nothing more to say about it. And then finally, this came out of nowhere. They said, last but not least, we're excited to share the work that's underway to bring social spaces to megaships. This will allow them to position a base for on-foot services anywhere in the galaxy. Now, it has to be pointed out, they said megaships. They have confirmed in the live stream that it's not fleet carriers.
They said they were working on fleet carriers.
They said nothing to say at this moment in time, as far as I didn't hear them say they're working on it.
I swear I heard them say they were working on it. I had like 4 people message me to say that they were working on it.
I think that was implied. I didn't think it was explicit, but it might have been.
No, I didn't think it was even implied. When I watched it, Arthur just sort of said, yes, we know that the community have asked for the fact that these things,
okay.
We want social spaces on our fleet carriers. We have heard you on this, and that's all he's going to say on it.
Yeah, the safest thing with Frontier in this is to assume it's not going to happen, and then you're surprised when it does.
Well, it was something, when we had off on, it was something that we talked about then, and he was like, I know there's a community need for it, and I'm asking for it, and it's already something we're looking at.
I mean, the megaships, if they're able to place at least one megaship in, say, each sector, at least that's somewhere that people can go to. But mind you, that means that the fleet carrier network, which is one fleet carrier in each sector, that's been a bit kind of pointless if there's a megaship in a station.
I don't think they're going to be moving megaships around just for that, but I think, and this is why there is a desire to get it on the fleet carriers, for the Deep Space Network. But it'll be a good thing. I don't know why they didn't do it to begin with, but ayo.
Yeah.
We'll get it when we get it, I think.
Yeah. Shan?
Well, I was just thinking from a roleplay point of view, can you imagine that would be the most boring job in the world, to be the bartender at a megaship in the middle of nowhere? Because no one would ever visit you, would they? You'd be like, wait, oh, there's a passenger ship. No, never mind. So, I don't know. Mind you, on the upside, you'd be pretty much likely to get a enhanced grade 3 suit or a weapon at these places, because people wouldn't visit them.
Not that often, no. Right. You know what? I think we've had a very long chat at the moment. I think what we'll do is we'll take an ad break, and then we'll come back with the some of the in-game news and some of the social stuff.
Are you struggling with paying fines? Do you lose sleep in hyperspace worrying about docking at the next space station? If the answer is yes, then you need to call Cowell & McGrath Fine Management Services.
I got scanned while in Federation space and was caught carrying slaves. It was an unexpected expense that I couldn't afford on top of my fines for damage caused whilst docking.
We can help you consolidate all your existing fines into a single large fine, payable in regular instalments at what is almost a competitive interest rate.
I called Cowell and McGrath Fine Management Services, and they helped me pay my existing fines before I got a bounty on my head. They really saved my life.
At Cowell and McGrath, we've helped thousands of pilots whose fines had spiralled out of control.
I dared not go near a police star system. Got so desperate that I'd almost resigned myself to a life of piracy. Luckily, I found Cowell and McGrath's services before I actually murdered anyone in cold blood.
No fines too big, no criminal record too damning. We're here to help you, no questions asked. Find us in the Lave business directory.
I'd got into debt as a result of a massive counter lawsuit by Watt and Prittney. It happened because I'd taken advice on Python protection insurance from... Wait a minute! It was you!
Cowell and McGrath. Minimum liability, zero accountability. Warning, balances may go up as well as down. Missed payments may lead to repossession of your ship, seizure of cargo, or the issuing of a death warrant.
This is a public service announcement from the Fuel Rats. Please stop what you're doing and pay attention. If we can rescue you, we will, but you can help us help you by following these easy steps. 1. Fly 50 light seconds or so from the system's main star and drop out of supercruise. 2. Note down the current system and the nearest stellar body. 3. If you're on emergency life support, log out immediately. 4. Go to fuelrats.org and click Get Help. 5. Stay calm, hold your breath, and let our seasoned professionals do what they do best. The Fuel Rats. We have fuel, you don't. Any questions?
Want to tour the frontier? Travel with Colmac Reeve and our new fleet of passenger starliners. We've opened up the universe for a range of budgets. Option 1. Luxury.
My husband and I like to travel in comfort. The new luxury cabins were like a home away from home. After all, one's home is a castle.
Option 2. First class.
We'd saved up a bit for a really special trip. The first class cabins were like nothing we've travelled in before. Really luxurious.
Option 3. Travel cabin.
We won a trip with Cormac Reeves' monthly lotto. A travel cabin for two on a starliner around the solar system. Once in a lifetime for us. Simply amazing.
Option 4. Basic accommodation.
Me and my mates just wanted to hitch around the universe. It's so great that we have the option of getting a really cheap cabin to see the sights. It saved us loads.
And for the budget conscious and slaves, we have our cheapest option yet.
Well, I needed a...
And we won't sell any of those frozen passengers into slavery, I promise. Colmac Reeves All Budget Tours, seeing the galaxy from luxury to freezing tubes.
And welcome back. Now, quickly before we move on to the other sections of the show, I'd just like a quick ask the team what they thought of the developer update. So if you give a quick summary of your initial thoughts, we'll start with Ben.
It's looking good. I'm glad the direction they're going, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Fair enough. Shan?
Some good fixes, but the elephant is still in the room.
And Psykit?
I will enjoy it when it comes to fruition.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think I'll agree with Ben. I'm liking what I'm hearing, but like I said, I think it is a case of we'll wait and see when it arrives. Thank you very much.
Frankly, Shan, I think the elephant will be in the room for all of Odyssey. So I think we either need to get onto the elephant train or stop playing, frankly.
Well, I think we need to keep pushing. We need to keep pushing for engineering fixes.
We're not going to get. It's not going to get backed. It's not going to happen.
Well, engineering balance fixes, yes. The actual mechanics of the engineering, that ain't going to happen. And
I don't know.
that,
I remained vaguely optimistic because they changed it when enough people made enough fuss first time round. So I
yeah,
kind
but
of like to think there's enough.
how long did that take, Shan? That took 2 years.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be 2 years of I hate this, and constant I hate this, it's going to be 2 years of hate. And can your soul take 2 years of hate?
An asshole.
That
Pardon?
is an extra part of Shan's villain origin story. 2 years of hate within the soul, bunny death, all of that. See what that will do to you.
I am not
And
an
of course,
Skywalker.
and of course, there's the lack of alpaca love. it just goes on.
We need to know actually, what is your opinion on sand?
Isn't that between the sea and the land? That's how you end up with sand, because it's between sea and land.
Oh, I learned something the other day, actually. I learned that wharf wasn't a word, it's an acronym. I never knew that.
What, Worf as in WHARF or
Yeah.
Worf as in Star
Not as
Trek?
in Lieutenant, not as in Lieutenant Worf. Wharf as in WHARF. It's warehouse at riverfront or something.
Oh.
I never knew that. So yeah.
Well, yep. Okay, on the Thomas the Tank Engine.
Stop
Brand flying to Tangent Town.
Ben, stop making us learn things.
Yeah, Chris has put Commander Worf in the chat, which is also very helpful. Although apparently at the time of Picard, he is now captain of the Enterprise, allegedly. Apparently so. So there's one for
He
you,
had
Star
a
Trek
crap
nerds.
career, didn't he? So at the time of Picard, Worf was, say he was lieutenant commander, and then a million years later he makes it captain. That's a really slow progression.
I'm sorry, but how old was Captain Picard when he got the Enterprise?
Picard's he's in his 50s. He's basically saying, because
Yeah.
I watched an episode of Star Trek today where he's on about some girlfriend of his, and she was about 50 years old. So I'm taking him to be about the same age.
I'm just saying he's been held back, is what I think. He's been.
I just think that a lot of people seem to be. I think ranks are actually pretty messed up in Star Trek. Actually, thinking about it, I mean, you think Riker was the first officer for 7 years.
So he was first officer for as long as the plot demanded it.
Yeah, I mean, he got a captain, didn't he? Then his ship got.
Oh, he was made captain about 4 times or something like that. But
anyway, shall we just point out? Stephen Usher has just said he was captain. Worf was actually the captain of the Defiant by the end of DS9, so he was a captain by the end of DS9. So let's move on from that little diversion. Now, there has been an interesting in-game event that's been happening this week. Instead of the usual CGs, the Highford crash mystery has finally unfurled. It took everybody, I think, about 2 days to go through this, but it started with a comms beacon on a crash T9 in the middle of Colonia, and it has unfurled from Colonia all the way through to, I think is it back to the Witch Heads Nebula or Barnard's Loop?
that neck of the woods, yeah.
Yeah, that's where you are at the moment, Ben, isn't it?
That is where I am at the moment.
Yes.
So I'm now flying off to apparently the second waypoint.
Yeah. Now, it is a bit of a breadcrumb trail, and we will not spoil it. However, Psykit, you've completed this. I've completed this. How excited were you when you read some of that stuff?
Mate. it was really nice to be able to share it and share in the joy of doing it. It was, oh man, it was, I can't spoil, I don't want to spoil anything, but seeing certain names pop up and certain words and phrases pop up, it felt like a proper peak of a story arc. Just
Yes.
and such an information dump, so much content, and yeah, oh man, my little lore heart was so happy.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that all this stuff that's happened in this plot that you discover happened while the Pleiades stuff was just beginning to start. I think it's safe enough to say that,
Mm-hmm.
but not anymore. But I must admit, for me, reading through some of that stuff, all of a sudden I could see loads of little exciting possibilities and impossible gameplay and little tidbits that could mean something
So many questions,
Yeah.
man. So many. It answered so much stuff and left so many more questions wide open. And I thought it was beautiful storytelling. I was incredibly happy with it.
Yeah. Shan, you did it.
Yes, but there's an interesting, and it's not tinfoil hat at all, but
Okay.
on one of the systems in the trail, if you look at the Elite Wiki and other sources, the expiration data for that system was reset at the when this came along. And if you do other digging around around that system with posts and stuff like that that people found prior to this event, there's clearly a hidden history in game to this particular system.
Ooh, well, that's an interesting fact as well. Ben.
And I think one thing that I'm very excited about is the fact that we heard today during the live stream that Arthur's been buried in depths with the story team yet again for continuing the story beyond, I guess, the 2-year mark.
Yeah, I mean, I
that-
must admit, I'm so relieved to hear that.
Yeah, so I as you said, I'm very relieved to hear that. I think these little story tidbits are almost what the game needs. It's the mystery that people love about Elite, and getting to tell that and presenting that and showing us that is so much fun.
Yeah,
and
is.
Answering bits and leaving bits, I'm loving it.
Yeah. So overall, I think everybody's reaction to this is a big 2 thumbs up. So if Arthur and the team are listening, well done, good job, and more please. Not that we're making demands. So it's a belated time, but it's that time of the week yet again.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. A store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert. Which one will you buy? A store alert, 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 a store alert. Which one will you buy?
And welcome back. We have 3 of the store alerts at the moment, which seems to be the standard fare at the going forward. We have the Chieftain pirate skin, which I don't know. It's chieftains. If you love chieftains, you'll probably like this. Also, I'd like to say that this is for your inner Ant-Man. You've got the Raider Berserker style suit. I do believe that might be a favourite of psykit.
I haven't bought it yet. You see, it wasn't an inevitability. I'm still managing to resist.
Yeah, but you want it.
I'm gonna buy it. Don't worry.
Would it suit you, sir? Would it suit you? Right. Also, on top of that, we have the Manticore pistol in a nice multi-shaded purple. I hate it when they put the guns in a purple color, especially when we've got Ben on.
If it's not throbbing, I'm not interested.
Here we go. Come on, Ben, get it out of your system. No, is that the only one you can manage?
I'm getting on a bit now.
You drooping.
And next, we're supplying Ben with pills.
This episode of Lave Radio is sponsored by Blue Chew.
Right. Well, we'll move on to the mostly clueless section then. This is from the Manure Man, who has been making lots of suggestions on our on our web form. If you have a suggestion, we will put a link into the suggestion box or for the suggestion form, where we can pass your well-known tips on to newbie players. Well, this week's tip is: remember that decontamination limpets also work as repair limpets. So if you have no caustic substance on your ship, they will still repair your ship. To use them, just don't select any target, launch automatically, and they will lock onto you and repair your hull.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
I've just done that as well. That's so cool.
Yeah, I used them extensively when I was doing my run to Elite by going through the Thargoid Scouts, because even though you could fix any caustic damage, it would normally just fix you up to a certain point. You could just go through the decontamination limpets to bring your hull back up to full strength. Godsend. Saves you having to have a separate repair limpet launcher. So, moving on from there, Sai. I'm dreading this bit.
I got nothing, mate.
You've got nothing.
I got nothing. However, I've been having a think, and I will accept story briefs or story suggestions, which I would then be able to pad out and write my own. We can make a whole adventure series if we have to.
If this turns into one of your choose your own Shan adventure stories.
Oh my god!
Sai's already started with briefs and padding.
I thought you said you had friends that were lining up to write this stuff.
She's away.
Oh, right, I see. So the smart writer is away. Oh, that's a shame. And Shan,
briefs.
I think Shan
middens briefs. Middens. We can start with middens and underpants. That'll do.
Oh, I don't want to think about that. Jeez.
Chris has made a suggestion that we do a paragraph.
Yes, and we'll do a poll. It'll be a choose your own adventure, starring Ben and Shan. Oh, I'm involved. I will need to remind myself to do that every week.
Oh God!
You have access to the Twitter. God help us all.
Oh God, help you and Shan anyway. I'm glad I'm out of it.
You can be involved, Colin.
It's all right. You can be a good star. It's not a problem. It's all right.
No, it's fine. I would prefer that my co-presenters have their moment in the sun.
Oh.
Right. Shall we move on to the community news? Right. Alec Turner has finally shown us how to get your balls onto the concourse. Originally, this was discovered by Ghost Giraffe and Mars. So if you want, we will include the link to Alex stream, and he managed to get, I think it's a couple of canisters of bio waste onto the concourse. So I think those that are an orbital are going.
The TLDR version of it is get bio waste or whatever into your SRV, jump onto the roof, and then jump onto the roof, and then you get your SRV to do the vertical city up thing whilst on a specific part of the roof, and then you glitch the canister through the station, basically.
Yeah.
I would love to pick up Thargoid scavengers and drop them in the concourse.
How to turn the concourse into a can of spam. In other news, yes, dear. Due to my adder rant last week, I said that I would A-rate an adder and do a top shift in it if someone took an adder and managed to total a Medusa, a Thargoid Medusa ship. And I have to say, I am going to have to A-rate an adder because Rosenkrantz Jr. Has managed to prove to me that it's quite easy to total a Medusa, or he made it look quite easy in his YouTube video, which we'll put a link into the show notes. I should have said Hydra.
Colin, I think we need a time restraint on how long you keep this A-rated adder, and I'm going to suggest you keep the A-rated adder until you can solo Medusa as well.
Oh no! You know what I'll do is I will A-rate an adder, and on next week's show I will fly it in open around Lave Station, and anybody who wishes to have a pop at it is quite welcome.
No, we want to see you solo Medusa.
That ain't gonna happen. I can't even do that in my Anaconda at the moment. Also, in other news, Roostat interviewed Zach Cochran as part of his 24-hour charity stream. Zach's early intro into Elite is he first started playing a couple of years ago and got into Elite Dangerous because of the CGs. He's got a passion for the Elite community, especially mass jumps, and lots of other nice things and a fun, frank discussion. So, excuse me. There is a Just Giving page of Perez Malcha is fundraising for special effect at Just Giving. So we will be passing on a link for that. And also you'll find a link to Rootstat's interview also in the show notes.
For anyone who doesn't know, Rootrat is the ex-CM, I suppose, of the Winged Hussars, the Polish community group in Elite Dangerous. And they're the guys who make the beautiful calendar in Polish, and now in English as well. That is quite often, they take some along to LaveCon and things like that. So that's who those guys are.
Excellent. Right. Has anybody got any other business? I know Sai has, but if anybody else hasn't. No? Okay, Sai, you've got something about Flight Assist.
Yeah, we're recording episodes again. I know Colin's been on, but if you're interested in being a guest on Flight Assist, we are beginning recording again for season 3. So drop me a DM on Discord. We just talk about your Elite Dangerous history. It's nothing exciting.
Yes, and you'll be able to slag off the ship that's hated the most, i.e. the Adder. Yes. Forgive me. I have now decided I prefer the Asp Scout to the Adder. I really have. Anyway.
you haven't unleashed the power of the A-rated Adder yet, Colin, so you need to give it a fair chance.
I look, Shan, I will give it a fair chance, and when it's had its fair chance, it will go straight into. I'll hot black Desiato it straight into the sun, because that's what it deserves. Right. Oh, my other bit of any other business is if people are quick, you can get Star Wars Squadrons for a tenner. I thoroughly recommend that for a tenner.
Well worth it. Well,
Yeah.
especially if you've got VR. Star Wars Squadrons is super amazing. Just like looking around your cockpit in VR, it's just that's worth a tenner in its own right.
It is, yes. The single player campaign is worth the tenner, I think.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. So
yeah, easy.
So it would be remiss of us not to recommend that, and I think that's a good one. Anyway, I don't think we've got any question to ask the community this week, so straight on to the shoutouts. Our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv/Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. They seem to have calmed down after my anti-adder rant. So I didn't realise the truckers were fans of adders, but apparently some of them are. For the discerning commander that likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. We'd also like to give the shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts that have appeared over the last year. So that's Allograb AM, the Black Sky Legion, who do space sims as well as real life science and tech bits. The Canon podcast, the Spanish speakers have the Elite Cast. There's the Fatherhood podcast, Flight Assist, already aforementioned. The Guard Frequency, who do other space sims. The Loose Screws. Now, we have to give them a special shout out to the Hillbilly Elite podcast over the pond, because they have just managed to complete 2 years and over 100 shows. So that's their 2-year anniversary. So stay cheesy, everyone, and if not craft singles, then fuck you. Squeaky and Fuel, System Chat, and we now have Zero Prep, a new show that will start at 7 p.m. UTC on a Sunday. Kai, Suv, and Ed talk about all things geek culture over at the Black Sky Legion's YouTube stream. You didn't say that, Ben?
I did say that.
I just noticed a little note next to it. I'll say it.
Yeah, yeah, that was totally me saying that, but it's all right. So yeah, no, basically, Colin Reddit. It's basically Kai, Suv, and I shooting the shit for an hour or so with no show notes, and yeah, the idea is we want an opportunity to talk about stuff that isn't elite, yet we never have a chance to talk about anything that isn't elite. So
I don't know. We go off on tangents enough here, don't we?
Yeah, but we also try to stay on target. We just fail.
We've actually been very good this week, Colin. We've hardly ever drifted on a tangent.
It's been about 50% alpacas.
And 40%
and that's what Shan said.
But you know, I mean, it's the idea is I play so many other video games, and I'm also into so much other forms of media, not just elite and video games. And it'd be nice to have a chance to actually talk about The Expanse, talk about what Marvel's up to, talk about Ian Banks, all that other stuff that we do that isn't part of Elite Dangerous, basically.
Yeah. Well, good luck with Zero Prep. It does sound like it's Suv, Kai, and Ed after dark.
Basically, that's the yeah.
Right. Also, those who would like a literary discussion about sci-fi and fantasy books, Alan Stroud does the Data Slate podcast, which I'm not quite so sure when the last time Alan's done one, but they're always good for a listen. Now, after this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. Now, we have to give a bit of a spoiler warning on this one. We have not spoilt the plot line for the latest latest plot, if you like. I've got to get my thesaurus working. But unfortunately, Galnet News Digest do go into it in great depth. So if you want to avoid being spoiled, give it a bit of a miss this week, but not every week. See what I mean? Right, I'll try and dig myself out of that hole. So thanks to everyone who has chipped in on the Twitch chat and the in-game commanders that have joined us. Who have they been, Ben? Nobody? Okay.
Just a random person who I bumped into.
Fair enough.
Rather than a listener or anything like that.
Oh.
But it was nice bumping into a random person out at that first site, and he's just basically come back into Elite after a 2-year hiatus.
Oh, well.
And was having fun setting up his SRV keybinds.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Right, well, we'll also say special thanks, of course, to Commander Tokuso, who created the music for the introduction of the show. So that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, then you can call. You can email us at info@laveradio.com. Hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio. Tweet us at Lave Radio. You can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. And we also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat. And you can find that at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. Now, we don't normally do this, but we would actually like, if you like Lave Radio, could you please give us a substantial number of stars and maybe a little review in whatever your podcaster does for its reviewer, because it does actually help the profile of the show, and we would appreciate that. So we'd also like to thank our panelists for this evening, which is Ben, which is psykit, and of course the irreplaceable Shan. And special thanks, of course, goes out to today's tech specialist, the Chris Mark IV. So until next time, commanders, fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted into You need a safe word.
Space can be loaded.
I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Special, 31st of August 3307. 4 years ago, Commander Highford fled from the Pleiades to Colonia to escape the mysterious Black Flight. His last message in a data core in the wreckage of his crashed Type 9 on Colonia 5 EA finally began broadcasting on 26th of August 3307.
don't know what's going to be left by the time you get this. I had to stop them from intercepting that last message, but please go to HIP 26176 and find that complex for the sake of everyone who was taken there by scum like me. Someone has to remember them. And we have to ensure that this sort of thing can never happen again. HIP 26176 at galactic coordinates 3 and 904.4375, mark -323.53125, mark -1431.84375.
That message, recorded 4 years ago, finally gave researchers a pointer to Oaken Point Research Base, the place Commander Highford had worked, and helped us to answer at least partially the long-standing questions about the secrecy surrounding the Thargoid invasion of 3303, about why Highford was running away, and about what the Black Flight had been tasked to do, and more importantly, by whom. Back in 3303, there were folk tales of a belligerent alien race called the Thargoids that had attacked humanity back in the 32nd century. But the details were missing from history books. No one was quite sure whether the Thargoids had been real or imaginary. They certainly weren't around anymore. But some folk, privileged folk, people who knew the Thargoids were real and that they were close and getting closer, they also believed that they could handle the threat secretly without the majority of humanity ever finding out. Just who these privileged few were remains in doubt, but it seems that Azimuth Biochemicals, who had first encountered Thargoid near the Coalsack Nebula in 3111, and who we now know had been working to develop weaponry using the alien technology they'd found there, and in the Trapezium sector, where the crew of their research vessel Hesperus had found an ancient Thargoid Guardian battle site, were handling the research and development. The beautiful Oaken Point Research Station is on HIP 26176 on planet A5I. According to the logs that can still be downloaded, this was where, 4 years ago, in late 3302 or early 3303, Azimuth was working on what, for them, must have seemed the ultimate weapon. The code name of the project was Seraph. Professor Thomas Dorn has left a voice record that describes this truly horrific experimental work. Azimuth had somehow managed to capture a Thargoid scout ship and was looking for ways to harness its power. A large number of experimental test subjects, humans, shipped in occupied escape pods, were brought to the facility, and those that appeared strongest had neural implants fitted. Dawn explains the plan with palpable excitement.
My team recognize that we are on the threshold of something truly remarkable. While our competitors chase rumors and run lab tests on curious probes, we are working towards the first human-piloted Thargoid vessel. Of course, our research here will be the first of many such projects. This hostile race has plagued human space for hundreds of years. These creatures, so foreign, so fundamentally alien in every aspect, have sought to dominate us. The technology used in these attempts has been devastating. Our work will establish the first example of humanity harnessing Thargoid machines for its needs. Over time, we will continue to assimilate the aliens' technology until we have stripped everything we want. Then we shall lead the mission to wipe them out forever.
And Dawn refers back to Commander John Jameson's sacrifice in delivering a deadly plague to the Thargoids, something that only became public knowledge in 3304, when Jameson's crashed Cobra was found.
The mycoid virus merely bought us time. our true victory will be absolute.
The research program involved plugging the human subjects into the Thargoid scout ship and using them to control the ship. For the very first test, the professor records
A1's vital signs were stable for 43 seconds, at which point there was a major electrical surge through the central nervous system. Both witnesses observed the subject suffer a violent seizure which ultimately proved fatal. The Thargoid vessel appeared unaffected.
the fate of the first victim was repeated over and over again. The scientists trying to work out why their human subjects were being killed by the Thargoid scout. The professor recalls that it is unfortunate, but they can't resolve their difficulties without further live tests. On the fourth day of these live tests, the professor reported some progress.
I regret that D1's test ended poorly, but we received the information we needed. Subject D2's test used the recalibrated couplings. Her introduction to the Thargoid vessel proceeded smoothly, and as with A7, the hull's external frame responded visually. Dr. Pierce and Dr. Hamlin, witnessing both, reported D2 as responsive. 76 seconds into the test, the craft powered down once more. D2 departed the craft with help but standing, the sight of which inspired applause from the team on the ground. D2 is now in the infirmary, exhausted but physically unharmed. Her brief statement implied a connection with the vessel which proved emotionally difficult to process.
Shortly after this test, subject D-2 disappeared. Professor Thorne muses about what might have happened to her. As only one ship, piloted by Commander Highford, has left the base, he notes that Black Flight operatives will track him down and destroy him and his ship. But Thorne had more important concerns. The research team finally achieved a human-controlled flight of a Thargoid vessel.
There has been considerable progress in our work. After an initially unremarkable series of tests, Subject H8 successfully interfaced with the Thargoid vessel. 93 seconds into the test, the craft moved approximately 18 feet from its docking props and hovered in place. The flight was stable and accompanied by a gentle hum. I would describe the sound as subdued, as though the vessel had been brought to heel at last. The landing, 28 seconds later, was abrupt, but only superficial damage was sustained. H8 is unconscious but stable under the care of the medical team.
Unfortunately for the professor, the Thargoid scout seems to be more than superficially damaged, or perhaps its power supply had been depleted, as it refused to respond at all in further experiments. Professor Dawn was forced to suspend testing until another ship could be captured. He sent Black Flight to System HIP 22460, where Thargoid activity appeared to be high. This was also the time at which that system, which had been freely accessible, now had a permit lock applied. Thorne mentions the first publicly reported contact with an alien vessel by Commander D.P. Sayer in the Ares Dark Region XU-0 B63, which was in January 3303.
The recent report of a commander encountering a Thargoid vessel in the Pleiades is intriguing. I only hope this was not a singular event or some misunderstood data. Thargoid vessels scouting human space would significantly improve our chances of capturing one of their ships.
In his final log, Dawn mentions his sponsor.
The witch will not be pleased with the lack of tangible results, despite our initial progress.
It's unclear who this witch is, but it seems that she's been giving the orders. Dawn signs off with a little prayer to the gods to assist in Project Seraph's research, which is so vital to save humanity.
All Project Seraph needs is a little luck. I am not so proud as to withhold a prayer asking for that luck. Perhaps the gods will smile upon us.
In the next episode, we will examine what's been discovered in HIP 22460, where the Black Flight was sent to capture a second Thargoid scout.